All right, colleagues. So today we're looking at the board of directors, right? And we're going to look at first what are the roles of the board of directors, right? So we are using the Zambia Companies Act of 2017 for most of this information here. All right. So remember, the board of directors, these are the people chosen by the shareholders to basically direct the company. All right. They are the Like a plane has a pilot, the board of directors is like the pilot for the company. All right. So, number one, the first role of the board of directors is overall management of the company. All right. So, as we can read here, according to the Act, subject to this Act, the business of a company shall be managed by or under the direction or supervision of a board of directors. Okay, they can exercise all such powers of the company as are not, okay, whatever that is. Yeah. So, yes, colleagues, overall management of the company. All right. Remember, management involves planning, so planning for the company, organizing, uh, getting the resources together, controlling, making sure that the company's objectives and goals are being met, and also leading the company. Yes. Any questions, colleagues? Okay. Financial and borrowing powers. Okay. The board has the authority to borrow money, charge company property as a security. If you- if you're getting a loan or debt, you can put things for collateral. Issue debentures. All right. These debentures, this is traded debt. Okay. It's also traded in the securities exchange. And give guarantees for debts or obligations. Yes, those are the financial and borrowing powers. They're the ones who basically say, should we get into debt or should we not get into debt? They're also the ones who will be responsible for also determining the financial structure of the company. What type of financing will the company use? Right? Yes. Any questions on the financial and borrowing powers? Okay, number three, appointment of attorneys. The board may appoint someone through a power of attorney to exercise some of their powers on behalf of the company. Okay, and this is also one of the roles of the board of directors. They can appoint people to do their job on their behalf. Yes. Any question on appointment of attorneys? Has anyone ever appointed an attorney for their company? Okay. All right. Delegation of powers to the committees. Okay, the board may create committees and delegate any of their powers to them. When a committee exercises these powers, their decisions are treated as if the board itself made them. Yes. So in the board of directors, there are going to be various committees: the audit committee, nomination committee, right? Yeah. So those committees, all right, their powers are delegated to them by the board of directors. Okay. Appointment of executive directors. Okay. So we know the position of the executive director of a company, right? Basically, they are the face of the company. All right. So the board may appoint an executive director and give them any of the board's powers. These powers can be used alongside the board's powers or instead of them. The board can change or take back these powers at any time. Right. So if the appointed executive director is not doing things in the line of the company, right, the board can remove them. All right. The executive director is the one who is there doing the day-to-day managing of the company. All right. So they are answerable to the board of directors. All right. Yes. Any questions on this? Okay. Ensuring compliance and maintaining records. All right. The board must ensure that the company follows the act. Okay, the company's act. What they are doing is according to the company's act and its articles. Okay, remember the articles of association of the company? Yes, that's like also the constitution of the company. So the board makes sure that the company and themselves are complying with these rules, regulations, and policies. Okay. They are also responsible for keeping important company records, such as minutes of meetings, and for safeguarding the company's seal. The seal can only be used with the board's authority or the authorities of its committees. Yes. Any questions, colleagues, on this? Okay. Directors' remuneration and expenses. Okay. The board of directors are entitled to receive remuneration for their work. The amount is to be decided by the shareholders through an ordinary resolution. Directors, yes, 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 yes. Directors may also be reimbursed for the expenses they incur while carrying out their duties. So, yes, basically, what this one is just saying is that members of the board are entitled to be paid some form of remuneration. And if they incur any expenses while they are doing their duties, they can be reimbursed that money. Okay. Then these are the fiduciary duties of the directors. Okay. Directors have legal and ethical duties, including acting in good faith, avoiding conflicts of interest, exercising care and diligence in their roles, and promoting success of the company. Okay. So basically, these legal and ethical duties are for the company's best interests. Okay, the board of directors should act in good faith. They should be transparent. They should be accountable. Okay, they should avoid conflicts of interest where their interests are now being their interests are going against the company's interests. They always should put the company's interests before their interests. Okay, exercising care and diligence in their roles, not abusing their roles and their authority. Okay, promoting the success of the company, making sure the goals, objectives, the aims of the company are being met. Yes. Any questions on these fiduciary duties? Okay. Colleagues, what does the word fiduciary mean? Madam Kathy, the one who knows English well, the dictionary. Okay, fiduciary duty is just thing more like legal and ethical obligations of the board. Okay, basically, it's like the expected duties. hmm But yeah, it sounds similar to judiciary. Yes. All right. Now we're going to look at the board committees and their responsibilities. Okay, we're going to start with the audit committee. Oversees financial reporting, internal controls, and the audit process. Yes. So, colleagues, this audit committee basically they're making sure that your financial statements and your financial records. What I'm looking for a word here. You're following the rules basically. You're not cooking up numbers. You're not inflating figures. All right. Yes. They have to make sure all the financial statements and transactions the company is doing, they're all according to the law. All right. So let me read it out here. It reviews the financial statements before they are approved. It checks whether company records are accurate and complete. It monitors internal controls to reduce errors and fraud. Okay. Yes. So, like within a company, obviously there are certain procedures. All right. For example, if you want to request money, you want to pay for something. Yes. So those internal controls of how money is moving around in the business, the audit committee makes sure that those internal controls yeah, are according to the books and giving accurate information so that there is no fraud or stealing. It also recommends the appointment of external auditors and checks whether they remain independent. Right. Yes. So, colleagues, this audit committee basically, in a summary, just makes sure that your financial statements, your financial controls and transactions are according to the book, so that there's no fraud, there's no cooking of numbers. Okay. And basically, you won't mislead, especially the shareholders, because the shareholders they need to see how the company is performing. Okay. And remember, public limited companies have to publish their records. So, if the company has made a loss, the audit committee makes sure that that loss is reported. Okay. Yes, so that no one is being lied to and no money is stolen. Any questions before we go to the remuneration committee? All right. The remuneration committee determines the salaries, bonuses, and benefits of senior executives and directors. Right? Because remember, the board, if they are if they're choosing how much to be paying themselves without a committee to monitor this, definitely they would want to pay themselves more bonuses, higher salaries. Okay. Yes. So the remuneration committee is the one that is responsible for this. Okay. It ensures that executive pay is fair, reasonable, and linked to performance. So if you're not doing well and you're expecting to get the same amount, paid the same amount or more, the remuneration committee comes in and says, no, that is not fair. Okay. It prevents senior managers from deciding their own salaries. All right. Because colleagues, remember, when you're deciding your own salary, you want your salary to be as high as possible. Isn't that true, colleagues? It also reviews incentive schemes, bonuses, and allowances and retirement benefits, right? So that the board is not overpaying themselves, okay, and giving awarding themselves bonuses all the time. Yes. Any questions on that? Okay, you've got the nomination committee. Identifies and recommends suitable people for appointment to the board. All right. So this one is basically for nominating people who should come into the board. It considers the skills, qualifications, experience, and independence of possible directors. Right. It ensures that the board has a proper balance of knowledge and abilities. So basically, this committee is making sure that not anybody can just enter into the board. Okay, they're going to see, okay, what are your skills, what are your qualifications, what is your experience, all right, how good is your knowledge about this company and the industry and the sector. It also plans for the replacement of directors and senior managers when they retire or leave the company. Yes. Any questions on the nomination committee? But aren't you a board of director, madam? Aren't you a board of director, Madam Diane? So these rules you must know, you must know them by heart. Okay. Okay. The risk committee identifies, assesses, and monitors major risks facing the company. Okay. It examines legal, technological, and reputational risks. All right. So basically, this committee is there to prevent risks that the company may incur. There are a lot of risks that the company may incur. Okay. There are risks, financial risks, right? Operational risks, legal risks, all right? Technological risks. So this committee is there to make sure that these risks are avoided. It ensures that proper systems are in place to control these risks. It advises the board on the level of risk the company can accept and regularly reviews the company's risk management plans. Yes. So that's basically the role of the risk committee to make sure that the risks which the company faces do not happen. They make sure the company puts measures in place to prevent any of these risks from happening. So these are the major committees: audit, numeration, nomination, risk. You've got other committees like, okay, the ethics committee promotes ethical conduct and responsible behavior within the company. Okay, it monitors compliance with the company's code of ethics. Okay, so if you are doing things that are parallel to the company's rules, regulations, and procedures, this is the committee that has to be reported to. You have to be reported to this committee. It deals with matters such as corruption, bribery, conflicts of interest, discrimination, and unfair treatment. Okay. It also ensures that employees and directors understand the expected standards of behavior. So I think this is a very important committee, colleagues, because it's making sure that the well-being of everyone, not only the board of directors, but even the employees, is okay. All right. These are the ones who you report to if people are acting out of line. You see unfair treatment, biasness, you see corruption, bribery. This is the committee that is going to deal with you. Yes, the ethics committee. Yes, think of them as the prefects. Like at school, the prefects makes sure everyone is doing everything according to the school rules. Yes. Mhm. Yes. Hmm. Risk. We said audit committee, making sure the financial statements and reports and internal controls are according to the rules and regulations. Remuneration committee, this one is for making sure the directors don't overpay themselves and abuse bonuses. Nomination committee deciding on who can join into the board based on their qualifications, experience, knowledge. Yeah, and then risk committee. You already said risk committee. Hmm. Yes, yes, sure. Yes, yes, yes. They can be the same. Yes, but sometimes also a yeah, other companies use the word managing director. Then is it others? Is it CEO? Yeah, yes. So I believe yes, managing director should be the same role, if I'm not mistaken. If there are different roles, then the managing director will be above the executive director. Because the executive director at the company's premises, that's the one on top. Yes, that's the one on top. And they are responsible for everything that's happening when they go to the board because they are the ones who go to the board, explain what is happening, and give their reports. I'll check. Yes, I'll check. But I believe if there are different roles, then that managing director is under the executive director or under the CEO. Yeah, because the CEO, executive director, they are the top. They're at the top there. Yes. Any other questions, queries? Mm, the board charter, that's where it's like more that the guide, that's where the rules and the guidelines are. So it's not the same with the board charter here. Yes, here there's when mentioned the board charter. No, colleagues, these are just the committees, colleagues. We have just looked at the committees in the board. So it's not the constitution or the charter. No, no, no. Oh, okay, okay, okay. Yeah. Yes, yes. You can say it's like the constitution. Yes, yes, yes. They find roles and responsibilities, all that stuff. Yeah. Mhm. Yes. So even one of these committees, so I would say even the ethics committee, we can say they make sure that the board is following the chart. All right. So we're going to now talk about some positions in the board also. The chairman of the board, right? The chairman is a director elected by other directors to lead board meetings. Okay. Their core role is they preside over meetings of the board and ensure they are conducted properly and efficiently. These are key responsibilities: leading board meetings and maintaining order, ensuring that all directors have an opportunity to express their views, working closely with the company secretary to set meeting agendas. Okay, so like in parliament where you have a speaker, basically that's the chairman of the board, representing the board to shareholders and external stakeholders. Right. Yeah, this is a nice position also. Oh, oh, mm, uh, oh, Mr. Kanan, yes, here, managing director stroke executive director. This is a director who is an employee of the company and is actively involved in the day-to-day management of the business. Okay. The managing director oversees the company's daily operations and implements the board's strategy. Okay. Key responsibilities: managing the company's business activities on a day-to-day basis. Excuse me. As I said, at the company premises, this is the top person there. Okay, no one is above them there. So, like, they are the representative of the board there. Reporting regularly to the board on the company's performance, implementing policies and decisions made by the board. Okay. At least one executive director must be a resident in Zambia. Okay, that's I wouldn't say that's a rule. Yeah. So that's the executive director. Basically, they are the representative of the board in their company there. So they must make sure the company is doing what what the board expects the company to do. The policies, regulations made by the board, make sure the company is following those. And they have to report to the board. So if things are going bad at the company, they're the ones who have to come and start answering there. Also, it's a nice position. Isn't this also a nice position, colleagues? But what about if the company is making losses? Okay. NED, non-executive director. This type of director is not part of the company's management team and is not an employee of the company. Okay. This is their main role. Provide independent oversight and objective judgment. Okay. So, colleagues, yes, in the board, the board should also include out people from outside. Okay. These non-executive directors. All right. So that they can give independent and honest views. Okay. Because if the board is just made of the same people within that company there, then there's a lot of damage that can be done. Okay, so you always need an independent person in the board. These are also like the watchdogs. They're somehow like watchdogs to make sure that no suspicious activities are happening within the board. Okay, they challenge the executive directors and ensure the board acts in the best interests of the shareholders. Okay. So, key responsibilities: bringing an outside independent perspective to board discussions, okay, scrutinizing the performance of the executive directors, right, ensuring that financial reports are accurate and reliable, right, and representing the interest of the shareholders. Right. Yes. So these are the people who are independent of the company. They are there to provide, basically, to challenge anything that what the company is doing. They're there to challenge and make sure that the board of directors basically there are not doing there. Yes, yes. They cannot be biased or be bribed. Mhm. Yes, yes. Yes, like how do they find these people? Probably, probably, maybe, maybe, probably, yeah, yeah, maybe it's like, let's say, for ShopRite, maybe they'll go and get non-executive directors and choose maybe people from other companies, board of directors in other companies, probably. But how they are found, I'm not sure. I don't know if they also put an advertisement. So if the board needs non-executive directors, then people apply. Yes. Is that yes, yes. Is anyone currently in a board right now? I was actually thinking you were part of also the board. Okay. All right. Okay. No, that's nice. Company secretary. Yes, you can ask. Uh, mhm, mhm. Okay, I can press. Okay. Yes. So the company secretary ensures that the company complies with all legal and regulatory. requirements. Okay. Yes. So these are their key responsibilities: providing guidance to directors on their legal duties, responsibilities, and powers. So if a director is not performing any of their legal responsibilities or their duties and abusing their power, the company secretary comes in to put them in place. Informing the board about relevant laws and regulations, ensuring that minutes of meetings are properly recorded and kept, maintaining registers of members, directors, and beneficial owners, filing all required documents with PACRA, safeguarding and using the company seal only with the board's authority. Yes. Any questions?